Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Comedy, the podcast that helps you find new, emerging, and undiscovered independent comedy podcasts. I'm Greg, the host and curator of comedy. Today's episode is from Boys Watching Buffy. Joe Welke and Vance Tucker watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time ever and share their thoughts on every episode. If you like today's episode, make sure to check out the episode description for links to subscribe. All right, let's get this show started.
Begin.
Well, I think we should talk about it now.
Thank you for knocking.
If you don't know how I feel about
I don't. This isn't a relationship. You don't need me. All you care about is lots of orgasms.
Okay. Remember how we talked about private conversations? How they're less private when they're in front of my friends?
Oh, we're not your friends. Go on.
Please don't.
This is important.
Yes, but why is it here?
Mom said you wanted me to swing by.
Oh yes, well, I meant after sunset. I need you to take Spike for a few days.
What?
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 I'm not staying with him.
I have a friend who's coming to town, and I'd like us to be alone.
Oh, you mean an orgasm friend?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our thoughts, our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 4, Episode 10, titled Hush, written and directed by Joss Whedon. Original air date December 14th, 1999, to an audience of 5.97 million people. And gotta get this off the chest first here, everybody. I was one of the victims of the Southwest holiday travel debacles. And boy, oh boy, did it fuck everything up in my life. I was supposed to be back in LA December 28th. That flight got canceled. The earliest I could get back to LA was January 1st. And I had plans to go to Las Vegas for New Year's. So I got my flight rerouted to Las Vegas on December 31st, was able to do the Las Vegas shit. And on the drive back, me and Vance had planned to record once I got back on the 2nd. Drive back initially started, I left at 11 a.m. And when I left Las Vegas, it said, hey, this is a 5.5 hour drive. I'm like, cool, that's in the ballpark of what we usually expect here. Google Maps decided to do this fuckery where, you know how they always are like, if they update something, it's like, hey, we found a faster route. Do you want to take the faster route? I saw that and we were like, yeah, let's do the faster route. It was going to save a half hour of time. Google Maps took me on an off-road dirt road that eventually it told me to take a left at a certain turn, and there was no left to be taken. It's just like you'd be driving in the shrubbery of the desert of Nevada. And then it was like, okay, well, we'll reroute you to this other dirt road. Get to that dirt road. There's like 5 tires just there blocking it. And so this was like a half hour off of the highway. So then we had to drive a half hour back to get on the highway. And once we got to the highway, it was fucking so impossible to get back on the highway because so many people made the same Google Maps mistake as me. And by the time we got back on the highway, it was like, okay, ETA is now 6 o'clock. And that was the time that me and Vance had originally planned to record this podcast because of the Southwest fuckery. And just the entire drive from Nevada to Los Angeles was just traffic. The ETA kept going up and up and up and up. And at that point, I just texted Vance. I was like, Vance, I don't think it's happening tonight. I didn't get back to LA until like 8:45. 11 a.m. to 8:45 p.m. I was like, dude, There's no way that I'm going to be doing this podcast. It would be the worst podcast we would ever record. We will just need to delay it. So that is what happened, everybody. Blame fucking Southwest for all this. I'd take it all the way back to Southwest because these motherfuckers fucked me so hard, and I better be getting a goddamn reimbursement. This is Joe talking, by the way. We get some comments that like nobody can tell who's talking. This is Joe. I just gave a whole fucking spiel about this, my trip, and boy, oh boy, what a time to be alive.
How was your New Year's, though?
New Year's was great. Everything once I was in Las Vegas was awesome.
Okay.
But getting to there from there was just a goddamn travesty. And I don't ever want to go anywhere for holidays ever again. I want to fucking stay in my house and just sit and go get a little popper at midnight. There we go. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
We
went to the Roots concert at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, LA Philharmonic.
That's fucking awesome.
And it was great. I hadn't seen the Roots live, and they put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I heard they're great live, dude.
Yeah, everybody gets a solo. It's amazing. It's not every day you get to watch an Academy Award winner on the drums, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to say,
Thought, dude, Black Thought is fucking incredible.
Oh, amazing! Yeah,
He's
great.
Such a good rapper.
Yeah, and their guitarist just killed it. It was great. It was amazing. Highly recommend checking out the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Yeah. And I want to say Happy New Year to our listeners.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
We're back. It's 2023.
Yeah. So this delay is completely on me, Joe. So there we have that. But I'm going to push the blame over to Southwest. So if you have any complaints, fucking write them because they're sons of bitches and I fucking hate them.
Google gets a little bit of a blame, but I'm okay because I didn't want to edit the
Google
podcast that night.
Dude, Google Maps fucked me so hard. I mean, these are our robot overlords.
Yeah.
We put our trust in these robots. They fucked me so hard.
The AI failed you.
Oh, my God. But yeah, hush. We do a podcast about Buffy.
And I think we have a shout out, don't we?
Oh, we do. We have a sorry, everybody. I'm out of sorts. We have a fucking shout out to D Ladder 98. Left a fucking great review. Thank you so much. Really love it. This Wish argument is legendary at this point. We keep getting mentions about the Wish. I forgave Anya for her disgusting.
If you haven't listened to the Wish episode and the follow-up to the Wish episode after the discourse, do yourself a favor. Check that out. If you're just like starting, if you've seen all of Buffy, just jump to the Wish. It's fine. Just get into it.
But D Ladder, thank you so much for your very kind words. We really appreciate it. And if you want to get a shout out, you know what to do. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. That's how you do it. We have a Patreon, everybody, where we review Angel. Want to remind everybody about that. And sign up for our Discord because there's lively conversations going on there. We had our first poll the other day, which was very successful, very fun.
Yeah.
And good times.
And the menu, I want to say, we do a Boys Watching Movies Patreon exclusive, and we did the menu. And the menu is now available on HBO Max if you want to check that out. And then follow us on Patreon to hear our review of that.
Yeah, and I think Scrooged, our other Boys Watching Movie edition, was, I think that's on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
I know it's a little bit past the holiday season at this point, but, just watch it anyway.
Yeah. Don't even watch it. Just listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We ready to do, am I missing anything?
I think we've delayed this episode long enough.
Yes, we have. Hush, everybody. This episode opens up with Professor Walsh talking about how important communication is, and communication is the key to everything, and you gotta be communicative. And she calls Buffy to the front of the room to do like a demonstration about communication or something. And she's like, all right, for your demonstration, I want you to lie on my desk. And then she's like, Riley, you're a part of this demonstration too. And T.A. Riley walks over and he's just like over top of Buffy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the fuck kind of communication demonstration is that? Dude, I was
at this point, I was like, this is a dream.
Yeah, of course.
It is. I was like, the 90s were weird, but they weren't this weird.
Yeah. I was watching this. I was like, I was a communication and social psychology major. I don't remember this happening. And now Riley and Buffy are going to perform sex for us all. And
oh, everyone get your notepads out.
Yeah. But Riley goes in and he's just like on top of Buffy. And Buffy's like, oh, this is so scandalous. And Riley's like, don't worry. And he says, if I kiss you, the sun goes down. And I was like, what kind of cryptic bullshit is this?
He says, if I kiss you, it'll make the sun go down. And I have to say, he has continued from the last episode where he said, you'll teach me. Like, so he ended last episode with a creepy line. And then he starts this one with a weirder line.
Right? Yeah. Riley's so weird, dude.
They just made this character the weirdest character ever. I don't even understand after watching the episode what that line meant.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, then they kiss. And, you know, when they first kiss, it's daytime and there's a bunch of students watching them. And then they kiss and then it's dark out and everybody in the classroom disappeared. And Buffy's like, ooh, this is cool, isn't it?
I don't know exactly when this happens, but she says the line, fortune favors the brave.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think of that Matt Damon crypto Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, and how is he being sued now?
But I couldn't help but think about that.
But yeah, but then she starts to hear some stuff going on in the hallway, and she's like, "What's going on out there? This is weird. There's some weird shit happening." She goes out in the hallway, and there's a little girl chanting creepy stuff, and she's looking all creepy. And there's Buffy wakes up, and it was obviously a dream, and she's wakes up, and she's back in regular world in class. And, you know, there's some banter between her and Willow about like, oh, you were snoring, but...
Yeah, I gotta say, Willow... Okay, so Buffy falls asleep in class. And then Willow's like, oh, we learned everything we needed for the test. Oh, I hope no one missed that. And I'm like, bitch, don't you know Buffy patrols at night? like, stop trolling her for not being alert in class when she's saving lives at night.
Yeah.
The fact that she's even awake at all.
Yeah. Like, Buffy should just look at Willow like, dude, you know what I do. Yeah. Like, I get that she's trolling. It's like lighthearted or whatever. Yeah. And Willow's just going to give her the notes and help her cheat or whatever. Yeah. But like...
Willow still seems begrudging to just like straight up cheat for Buffy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, come on.
I would let Buffy cheat off of me all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But Buffy's like, yeah, I just had a really creepy dream. And then they start to walk outside. And Riley is just like creepily waiting outside the door for both of them. And like, as soon as they pass the exit, he just like jumps out and he's like, hey, how's it going? What are you guys up to? It's like, dude. So then Willow sees this happening and she's like, oh, well, I have a Wicca group to go to. I'm actually going to go to this Wicca group. You two don't get into any trouble or whatever. So she walks away and then Riley and Buffy are talking and Willow does not go to the Wicca group. She starts spying on fucking Buffy and Riley in the most 90s bullshit. Like, like just has a folder in front of her face.
Yeah, just standing in like a window outcropping and just like holding a book in front of her face. Like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. She didn't even have to do that.
Yeah. And like, it's also like her spying goes for such a short amount of time too. Like, because after that little scene, it's just like over.
Yeah.
And Buffy and Riley go outside and they're talking about, you know, oh, we got the final or whatever. And then they almost kiss at a certain point and they don't because they become stuttering, nervous messes around each other.
Well, what happens is Buffy says, oh, he's like, what are you doing tonight? She's like, patrolling. He's like, what? And she's like, petroleum, which is terrible. And then she asks him what he's doing tonight. And he's like, grading papers. And then right when they're about to kiss, Buffy's like, wait, grading papers, but we already took the midterm. Like,
yeah, what papers do you have to grade? And Riley's like,
other
papers.
late ones. And it's like, Buffy, this is the time you become master detective?
Mm-hmm. Right?
Like your Benoit Blanc right here. Like, just get the kiss.
Benoit Blanc, one of Vance's favorite movies of 2022.
Yeah, Glass Onion made the list.
I still haven't seen it. Looks pretty fun.
You still haven't seen a lot of things, Joe.
I still haven't seen RRR. But yeah, so then Buffy's like, got our eyebrow raised a little bit, like, that's a little suspicious. Riley might be lying to me. Because Riley also is a terrible liar. As soon as she's like, what's up with this paper grade? And he's like,
They all made lies that they didn't need to make.
Well, it's like Buffy makes a stupid lie about the petroleum thing, but at least she's confident when she says it.
True. It is a confident of, I'm doing a test on petroleum. Yeah. And Riley's just like buying anything. So yeah, he's like, oh yeah, you were joking about being married. Fine. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. At this point, would you still be interested in Buffy knowing how fucking crazy she is?
I don't think hotness blinds people to certain things. I don't know.
Fair.
Yeah.
So after this, Buffy decides to call Giles about her crazy dream because she's a little worried about it. She had the chanting thing, and there was a creepy guy's face in there, and it had something to do with this bald guy, and they're called the gentlemen because the chanting girls mentioned something about like the gentleman needs 7. Mm-hmm. And Buffy calls Giles and he's like, how do you know that it's not just a dream, or is this like one of your prophetic dreams? Because you have that vision type of thing that we haven't mentioned in quite some time. So I need to remind everyone, you sometimes can see the future. Mm-hmm. So he's like, all right, I'll do some research and we'll figure it out. And this is where a camera kind of pans out and it reveals that like Spike is now living with Giles. They're like roomies.
I love this so much.
Yes. Just the two British guys, odd couple situation.
Yeah. And he's not chained up or nothing. He's just like free roaming.
Yeah. He's just chilling, walking around.
Why is he living there?
I don't know.
Like Spike can just crawl into any other hole and come back.
I mean, they got the info that they needed from. That's why they were keeping him alive or whatever, and because he had the information about the initiative people.
Yeah. But he can like stay anywhere. He can just walk and go and stay in like one of his 8 different houses he probably has.
Yeah, but no, he's living with Giles, and Giles is like fed up with him already. It's like, well, kick him out.
Well, because he keeps eating his biscuits or his crackers or something.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Spike likes his food, man. Spike's a eater.
Well, I mean, we get an explanation. I think we asked this question a couple podcasts ago, but Giles is like, why are you even eating this? Like, you just drink blood. Can you even enjoy food? And Spike's like, I mean, I can. I do like the texture of the biscuits mixed in with the blood. And Giles is like, fuck, I'll never be able to eat again.
I would love to see a Spike cooking show of just like him, like how to make, are you bored with just drinking blood out of people? Just like, if you add a dash of paprika, a little cinnamon, like
he becomes like an underground network vampire celebrity chef.
Yeah. Blood sausage is the way to go.
So then Xander and Anya start walking over to Giles's house, and they're showing up and they're having an argument because Anya feels like Xander doesn't even care about her. And what even is this relationship? Do you even care about me? All you want to do is have sex. And Xander's like, look, I care about you. And if you don't think that I don't care about you, you must be a crazy lady. And she's like, well, that's not helping. And they show up and they're still fighting in Giles's house. And both Giles and Spike are like, I don't want to fucking hear any of this.
Well, she talks about all you care about is orgasms. Yeah. And that gets everyone to just look. And the way Spike comes off the couch and looks at him, it's just like delightful glee.
Yeah. I like Giles says something like, I don't want to hear anything about this. You two are like whatever. And Spike is like, oh, actually, I would like to hear some about it.
Yeah, she goes on about like Xander says, "Hey, I've told you about conversations, like private conversations, not conversations to talk about in front of my friends." And Spike's like, "Oh, we're not friends. So
we're not friends. Keep going." Yeah. This is entertaining for me.
And then Giles brings up that he wants Xander to take Spike for the weekend because he's got a friend coming over.
Yeah, and then I think Anya's like, "Is this an orgasm friend?" And Giles is like, "Well, yes."
He's like, "This is the worst." He's like, "That's the worst way you could have put this."
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
I do love that Giles is like, "Hey, can you take the kid off of my hands? I gotta fuck."
Yeah. And then they're arguing about like how Spike doesn't want to be with them while they're banging. While Anya and Xander are banging. And Anya's in the background arguing about oh my God, so you're canceling out date tonight because of this? And he's like, "I don't even want to take Spike."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good scene. Like this whole dynamic of all of these characters interacting is so good.
Yeah. Why doesn't he just stay in Angel's old apartment?
I don't know.
Or that place that Angel stayed. That castle has to be empty, right?
I guess that they just want to keep an eye on Spike.
It's entertaining for the show, but I have no idea.
Like, it doesn't make any sense as to why he would be like this.
Why he would want that too.
Yeah.
Like he's about to go get tied up at Xander's.
Yeah. What's keeping him there? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
We've never seen Xander's mom, right? Or any of his parents, yeah.
No.
It's just funny to think of her finding Spike tied up in the basement while Xander's sleeping. Like, what are you into, Xander?
Yeah. So then we have Willow at the Wicca group, and she is just silently judging all of them because this doesn't even really seem too much like a Wicca group. They're all going around talking about like, I don't know, like empowerment stuff and feminism stuff and like lightly touching upon like energy crystals and shit. And Willow's like, what is up with all this? Are we ever going to talk about real spells? And they're like, idiot. That shit's not real.
There's like a negative connotation to witchcraft. Like it's kind of like the crystal horoscope astrology level of, which I was kind of relieved because I was like, man, I don't think there should be this many witches. There should be this many Amy's and Willows.
Well, I know that one of my predictions was like there was going to be a Wicca group and they were going to like take things. But if this is the Wicca group, there
goes that one.
Yeah, that one turns out doesn't seem to be.
I'm still waiting for the Watchers to show up.
Yeah. But in this Wicca group, there is one girl. Like once Willow starts mentioning like, hey, are we going to ever talk about like actual witch shit? Because that's what I'm here for. There is one girl, I forget her name.
Tara.
Tara, okay. Tara kind of looks up at Willow and she's like piqued interest. She's like, maybe this girl kind of knows what the fuck's going on here. And like none of these other quote unquote witches really know. And maybe Willow knows that witchcraft is real. And I'm going to take an interest in this girl.
Yeah. Tara's interesting Yeah.
So after the Wicca group meeting adjourns, Willow goes and she tells Buffy about disappointment about it. She's like, yeah, these girls, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're just a bunch of, bullshit, not real witches. And Buffy's like, that's a shame.
Buffy's like, phew, less weird spells that we have to deal with.
Right? Mistaken spells that go awry.
Yeah.
Everyone in the town is somehow affected by it.
Didn't we just have a bad witchcraft thing? Yeah.
So then Buffy starts rambling to Willow about how, every time I'm around Riley, I get nervous and I become a babbling mess. And, I feel bad because I'm always lying to Riley. I feel terrible about this. And I wish that I could tell Riley about being a Slayer, but I know that I can't.
And I was like, why can't you?
Yeah.
Everybody else seems to know that you're a Slayer.
Yeah, like bring more people.
And I mean
the rest of Sunnydale High knows that
you did flips up a building in front of everybody.
Dude, did no one from Sunnydale High go to Sunnydale U?
Right? Well, I mean, granted, Willow's there, but and Oz went there. But other than like people outside of that group.
Yeah.
I really thought
saying.
Jonathan would be there.
No, Jonathan.
I mean, we don't know if Jonathan's smart.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Jonathan survives.
I thought he survived. I mean, we just saw him tackle. We
survives.
saw him tackle a guy.
I think that he comes in later. Yeah, we saw him tackle a guy.
Yeah.
I think that he does come
back.
I
hope so. It'd be nice to just randomly have him on campus. Just that random campus guy is always fun.
Buffy is sad that she can't tell Riley about it. And then it cuts to Riley talking. I think his name was Forrest. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
He's talking to Forrest about like, man, I wish I could tell Buffy about, being part of the initiative, but you know how it is. And Forrest is like, I know you fucking been talking about Buffy and her being special a bajillion times. I'm sick of hearing about it.
It's like, we got a job that would get us so many girls, but we can't tell them about it, Right? So that's the cross we bear.
And I love that Forrest's whole thing is like, I'm trying to get pussy.
Like, doesn't
it's
care about fighting
that
demons.
I can't get pussy because of this.
And are they in school or are they military age? Like, what are they?
Yeah, I want to know how old Riley actually is.
Like, how long has Riley been in this group? I guess we might find out soon enough, but like...
Yeah.
Also, I don't know why Riley's like, oh man, it's just so hard. I want to tell her I'm in this group. It's like, why? Because you accidentally said you had to grade papers once? Like, my God. Like, have you ever gone undercover at all? Like, it's not...
Yeah, and if you've been... he's like an elite level person in the initiative. Like, is this the first time that he's ever...
You're pretending to be a TA working with a teacher who moonlights as a real teacher.
Yeah.
And also runs this group. Like... She actually has real courses that she teaches.
Why would you add this workload on top of the initiative to 2 years? Like, why? Just be a person in town.
It doesn't seem like being at the school gives them any added benefit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they can't.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, you could.
Like, it made sense when Giles was the librarian because all of the people that he was working with were high schoolers, and that's where he kept all of his books.
Yes.
Like, I guess that the initiative thing is underneath of the school, but they could have a different access point.
Yeah, they actually do. We find out later that they have one.
So I just don't get, like, they're making their job so much harder by, like, I'm going to be a professor plus the secret military initiative person.
Yeah, I need you to be a TA in school and hang out with students, but not get information about demons from students.
Yeah.
I understand being at Sunnydale because it was right on the Hellmouth too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, also, how long has the initiative been around?
It would have taken a few years just to build that facility.
Yeah. So where the fuck have they been this entire time?
We might find out. We might be jumping ahead. We might be jumping ahead.
This is also kind of like that whole thing with Marvel movies where it's like, why don't they just call the Avengers? Or like, where was Captain Marvel during? No. But like, this is weird and valid, I feel like. Yeah. A valid enough nitpick.
My biggest issue is that there was a vampire murdering gang on campus for years.
Yeah.
Operating unknown for the initiative, which is also on campus. They were robbing kids. They were killing kids and robbing their rooms and saying they were going away. And the initiative didn't realize that there were vampires in an abandoned frat house or something.
Whatever, man. This whole thing is a little weird. But yeah, we'll get to it. Hopefully we'll get some more information as we go along. So then we go to Spike being tied up at Xander's house and Xander's tying him up, and Spike's like, I can't bite you, right? And Xander's like, I'm not taking any chances here. I'm gonna fucking tie you up, which I would as well.
Yes.
And then Spike starts taunting Xander about like the fight that he was having with Anya. He's like, do you even like me, Xander? Do you even care about me? And Xander's like, shut the fuck up.
It's great. I don't think we had too many scenes of Xander and Spike.
Mm-hmm.
So this is fun. And I like Xander being like, I'm delicious.
Yeah. He's like, you would definitely want to eat me. Yeah. I am delicious.
I feel like Spike is such an interesting character. Yeah.
Yeah. I also got to say, and this is Vain Joe talking here.
Oh,
There's
boy.
a scene I don't know if it's later or if we just passed it, but where Riley is in a tank top and he is supposed to be this like elite military guy, and he does not have that good of a bod. All right. His bod is very underwhelming.
This is Joe speaking right here. Joe is speaking.
I'll take all of this. His bod's not that good. He's like kind of scrawny. And he doesn't have like good posture even, but like he's supposed to be this imposing military guy. And then we have this scene with Xander and Spike, and fucking Xander is looking good, dude.
Xander looks ripped in this.
He's been hitting the weights, man. Like Xander looks great.
He's having sex with the former demon. You know how much energy that must take?
So kudos to Xander for, pumping some iron in the off season. He's looking good, man. And Riley, quit pumping it in the wind and start pumping it in the gym, my friend.
What is that a scene?
No.
Okay.
I heard it on Regular Show. It's that cartoon.
Okay. Yeah, I like Regular Show.
Regular Show's fantastic.
I never watched it regularly, but I do like Regular Show.
And he's not really finding too much out about him. He's getting a little bit of a trail, but then Olivia shows up and she is ready to fuck. She comes in and Giles is like, oh, I was just doing some research. And Olivia's like, all right, is that enough small talk? I'm ready to get dicked down, dude. Yeah. And I was like, this relationship rules.
This is why we didn't do a podcast as soon as you got back to LA, because I had to travel. I didn't want Joe to come on a podcast and treat me like Olivia treated Giles. He's like, hi, what do you want something to drink? She's like, shut up.
Shut up, kiss me, you tall drink of water.
Let's go to that bed Jenny Calendar was murdered in.
It really is that same bed.
I think it's the same sheets, too.
Same sheets, same bed, same location. He didn't even move it.
Didn't do some feng shui and like put the bed somewhere else.
Yeah. But, dude, good for Giles. Olivia is smoking hot.
I love that we don't know anything about her. She's just flying in.
She flies in, bangs, leaves.
Yeah.
Good on him. So then we cut to our first look at the gentlemen who are in this town. It's the gentleman dude, and he's in a clock tower, and he's doing some kind of spell. And people in the city, they're getting like their voices sucked out of their mouths, including the whole gang. You see the whole gang like getting their voices sucked out of their mouth, and the whole city, it's happening to them. And all of these voices are coming into this clock tower. And I gotta say, dude, the design and look of these gentlemen guys is so scary to me.
I wrote down the exact same thing. This demon look is the best demon look of the show so far.
Yeah, it looks so good.
They're in black suits. They have a permanent grin on their face. And it's not like, like Death Note, the Shinigami Ryuk or whatever. Yeah, like he kind of has a devilishly grin, but they just have like this, like, I don't know. It's just, and they like the gold,
it's
the
unsettling.
Silver teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, they have silver teeth that are kind of like leaking. They have these suits, and they look like super tall too.
And they float. I mean, this is getting ahead, but they float like a few feet off the ground.
Yes, I was watching that. I was like, how did they do that in like the 90s? Like I get, but like they float, and it's so unsettling to look at.
And then they have henchmen that are in straitjackets that aren't tied up.
Yeah. Now these henchmen guys,
I like the aesthetic. It doesn't function, though.
Yeah, I didn't really like the henchmen guys. I thought the gentlemen were scary enough on their own.
The gentlemen are scary enough.
They were fucking scary, dude.
I think them having like little guys in straitjackets kind of leads to some weirdness to it. But when you want them to be the persons that fighting for you, the fact that they're in a straitjacket takes away their mobility of fighting. So it's like, why?
Yeah.
But these are my demons number one for the show.
These guys are so good. They also do this. I don't know if I liked or disliked it, but they are always having like their palms clasped and then like gesturing slightly. Oh, yeah. And their heads are always tilting. And dude, it was so good. Mm-hmm. It's so scary looking.
What they do is also the scariest thing that's happened in this show. I think we talked about something else in Buffy that was like, wow, this was genuinely scary. Mm-hmm. I think this is the one, though.
Yeah.
When we see them in action, it is terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the implications of them being in action, like it's just so good. Exactly. I would understand. I think that this is like one of the better, well-known episodes of Buffy, probably, or like a fan favorite or something. And I completely understand why. This is a great villain.
I thought this episode, from hearing about it, I knew there was an episode that we know there's a musical episode, and we knew there was one where they didn't talk. Right? Mm-hmm. I thought the one where they didn't talk was going to be silly as hell.
Yeah.
Not dark as fuck.
There's some silliness too.
Oh, yeah. There's some definite
which works really well.
Yeah.
But it is fucking scary too.
I thought it was going to be like silly all the way through. You know?
So then it's the next day. Buffy wakes up to go to the bathroom and she, brushes her teeth or whatever. She starts walking back and she sees a girl crying in the hallway and she's like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why that was weird.
Yeah.
That she was crying.
I don't know.
Have you been in a dorm?
Yeah. That's just
Buffy, that was you and Willow the last few episodes.
That's par for the course, living in a dorm, But Buffy looks over and she's like, oh, okay, that sucks. And girl's crying. So then she goes back to her dorm and Willow wakes up. And they try to talk to each other and they can't.
I thought it was so funny that Buffy tried to say good morning. I don't know why to me. I was like, I don't know how often I'd said to my roommate, good morning. Just straight up good morning. It felt like, I don't know. It just felt.
Maybe girls are different.
Yeah.
Maybe girls are do that kind of stuff. Especially like best friends like that.
It felt like you would say something else than good morning. Like good morning seems so formal. That's what it was. It felt formal.
Yeah. But they quickly realize, like, what the fuck's going on? We can't talk. And they start freaking out. They're like, what's going on? Yeah. Why can't we talk?
I like they start thinking that they're deaf. And I'm like, is someone not going to just bang on something so you can hear other sounds? And they don't really do that.
Yeah. So after they freak out for a little bit, we get pans across the city of like, or in the dorm and stuff, like no one can talk. Xander wakes up and he can't talk and he starts blaming Spike. And Spike's like, I can't fucking talk either, dude. Like, what do you want from me? And then Xander's like, something's up. I'm going to call Buffy.
I do like that Spike flips him off with the reverse two fingers up, the British.
Yeah, the British two fingers. Yeah. Which is, I think it's supposed to mean like gouge out your eyes or something.
No, I don't think it's that.
I'm pretty sure it's.
Is it gouge?
Like it's like the eyeballs on your fingers.
Oh, all right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. But Xander tries to call Buffy, and then Buffy picks up, and they both realize, like, oh shit, we can't talk.
And Spike looks at him like, you dumb dummy. I can't believe I keep losing to you guys.
Yeah. So then Riley and Forrest are now getting dressed to go to their fucking basement because they're freaking out. They're like, something's up. The initiative. We need to get the initiative on this. And they swipe their key cards or whatever. They get their retinal scan. And one of the things that we see earlier in the episode is Riley does a voice scan thing.
Yeah. Great to reestablish that at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. And so they start to go down on the elevator and the thing is like vocal code recognition. And then Riley goes up to her. He's like, because he can't talk. And then it's like, the elevator's like, oh, you must be an enemy. You're intruding. We're going to self-destruct and make preventative measures. And then he like has to break through and do this override and all this like noxious gas starts going in to kill him and Forrest. And they start freaking out, which I was like, this is pretty cool. The stakes are intense there.
And Forrest got the notepad and he's just writing dumb shit like hurry up on it in the background. Yeah.
But they eventually, get down to the basement. They do the override. And they get to Professor Walsh and she's like, something's up. And they're like, we know.
There's a lame joke here.
Okay.
Where they get down and she like points to a sign behind them. And then it's like they pan over to the sign and it says, in case of emergency, use the staircase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is there really a staircase down here?
Yeah.
Because why would you not always take the stairs?
Well, it's also like, is the staircase not equipped with fucking vocal code recognition and retinal scan?
Yeah, it's like one of those added jokes that just undermines everything that just happened.
Yeah. But then we have a shot of the witch girl Tara walking around campus. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of like suspicious. And she's like, what's going on here? This is weird. And then a guy, like a random extra guy, just drops a bottle and everybody hears it smash. And he's like, oh, shit, sorry.
Oh, yeah, they're in the little, that little
like hallway?
That couch area, that lounge. Yeah. When he drops it, everyone hears it and everyone freaks out.
I guess because if it's so silent everywhere else, any kind of like noise would freak you out, I guess.
Well, this brings up not an issue necessarily. The town goes into mourning very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
As if like, I don't think you would go like, people are walking around. There's end of day stuff later where we're walking on. Like there's like this religious like revelations and a guy like reading from the Bible, which I don't even understand that scene the more I think about it, because you can't hear someone reading and they're all just like sitting there like at a pulpit. My favorite guy is the guy that's selling $10 like dry erase boards with
dry
like
erase
chains
boards
that you can put around your neck.
Yeah, this is like Buffy and Willow walking around a silent town to be like, oh, this is a citywide thing or whatever.
And they're like huddled together like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, sure, you would freak out. You would think what's happening. But I don't think the city would go into such a panic. Like,
yeah, I mean, later on in there's like a car crashed and everything.
Yeah,
like, why would that happen?
It's a car crashed into a fire hydrant and it's just going off. And I'm like, at what point did you not? You could still hear stuff. Deaf people exist in the world.
Yeah,
there are people that are
exist as well.
There was a semi-mute kid in Scrooged. He seemed to be functioning pretty well.
It's just it's weird,
and it might be a little. Because we have text messaging now, we went through the pandemic where we were like alone. Like you could turn on TV and watch it. Yeah. You could listen to music. You could still do stuff. Like it wasn't like everything shut off.
Honestly, there are days where like I just won't really leave or I'll leave my apartment, but I just won't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know, life goes on.
Yeah. It was just like 0 to 100 so quick.
Right, but
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it would be freaky if everyone in the city, but
they act like the world had ended, basically.
Yeah, but Buffy and Willow go to Giles's house to meet with the gang, and they're all researching and trying to figure out like what's going on. And Buffy and Willow had bought those message boards with the chains around them.
Yeah. This would be like the perfect time for silent disco. The Bronx. Ooh. Remember those?
Dude, silent discos are the shit.
I've never done one of those. I prefer mingling and talking to people when I go out. So silent discos defeat the whole purpose of that for me.
I did a silent disco when I went to the Taco Bell Hotel. And it was a lot of fun, man.
I just wanted to let us breathe in that a little moment. Just let that moment breathe.
The
Taco Bell Hotel.
Everybody, I'm a huge Taco Bell fan. I love Taco Bell. Baja Blast. I've mentioned it several times on the podcast. Taco Bell for
and they
one
don't
weekend,
sponsor us, do they?
No, they should. One of my Christmas gifts that I got this year was a Taco Bell gift card. Very stoked about that. But Taco Bell like rented out a hotel in Palm Springs, California for one weekend only, and they made everything Taco Bell themed. They gave you free Taco Bell, and I went to it, and it was fucking magical, everybody.
And that is Joe Welke talking.
Yep. Yep.
We should add a Patreon tier. $2 to get Joe some Taco Bell.
Dude, would very much appreciate that. Anyway, So, yeah, they're researching and they turn on the TV and the TV says that, it's this, I guess it's national news because it's not in Sunnydale because nobody can talk in Sunnydale. And they're talking about this weird epidemic that's floating around Sunnydale where nobody can talk. And they say that it's a citywide case of laryngitis. Some people are blaming flu vaccines for the thing. And I was like, oof, current.
Yeah, the thing about that is that's like might be one of like the vaccine stuff is whatever ridiculous, but to blame the flu vaccine for a nationwide epidemic or a citywide epidemic, not everyone in the city gets the flu vaccine. Yeah,
and it's also like the whole country does get flu vaccine, so why wouldn't it affect everyone else that got flu vaccine?
Why is Sunnydale specifically?
Why is it just Sunnydale?
And why is a 10-year-old who didn't get a flu vaccine not able to speak? Like, it falls apart right away. But
but I mean, the gang's watching this and they're like, what? That's the dumbest bullshit I've ever heard.
Obviously, it's demons.
Yeah.
At that point, you're like, well, I guess I might side with vaccines if it's going to be demons or vaccines. And
except that everyone in Sunnydale knows that there's demons.
Yeah, everybody knows. They should.
But the entire city is quarantined until everybody figures out what the hell's going on.
And this just guts the group. They're like, my God, nothing can get in. How will we get our food and goods? Like, they're like, you can still ship shit in. They can still. They're gonna survive.
Amazon some stuff.
This is pre-Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we go to Maggie, Professor Walsh, and she's talking to the initiative guys through a computer that has a voice, and she wants to protect the citizens.
That computer system is so big.
Yeah, it's
enormous. The mainframe.
And it's got that stupid ass robot voice. We want to protect the citizens. We need to maintain order in town. You must go and protect the citizens.
Do not wear your uniforms to not raise suspicion and and keep the crowds calm. Like
Godspeed and may the force be with you.
And Riley writes, "What is going on? I'm working on it."
Yeah.
They have the initiative, no clue. No clue.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
But so this is when Buffy's walking around because she's on patrol in the city and she sees the car crash into the fire hydrant. She's like, wow, this is crazy. And then she sees Riley and Riley's breaking up a silent fight that's going on.
This fight, dude. It's two guys in business suits and they are upset because... I don't know. They can't talk to each other. They lost a big business deal because no one can talk. I have no idea. I would love the backstory of this fight. Yeah. And I would love the backstory of two people who, I don't know how old Riley is supposed to be. Maybe 20-something. Mm-hmm. But to see a 20-something, plain clothes, walk in between two of you, push his arms out and separate the two of you. And then they're like, okay, we'll stop.
Yeah. Also, like, the blocking of this fight is so awkward, too.
It's far away because Buffy's looking at it, but it just was like, where are they coming from? They're just standing in the street. Why has this car crashed? Like, I could see there being rioting, but you could still hear stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you would hear someone break in. No one can scream for help. You can't call the police for help. Texting is not a big thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, if texting was a thing, and internet on a phone,
no one would
even notice. It'd be like Call of Duty bros being like, "What? I can't yell at you." That'd be like when you find out. But yeah.
So Buffy sees Riley break up this fight, and Riley like fixes the lapels on the one guy's shirt, and he like gives him the tap on the shoulder, like, "You're good, man. You're good."
When he starts adjusting guys' tie and stuff, I'm like, "Yo, swing on Riley."
Yeah, right.
That's so patronizing.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Who the fuck are you, dude?" Like,
exactly.
You don't know my life. This guy fucked my wife.
This fight was scheduled before the silence happened.
Yeah, they were meeting at the flagpole at 3, regardless. But Buffy goes up to Riley, and they do the
like the guy tries to get up, that gets pushed back, and she like breaks his wrist basically.
Yeah. So unnecessary.
And I'm just like, what do these guys think is happening?
But Buffy walks over to Riley and they do the whole like, you good? Like silent, like, are you okay? Yeah, we're okay. And then Riley's
don't they like
okay.
hug like?
Yeah, they hug.
They hug as if they just got out of like a plane crash or something.
Right? Like as if they thought they were never going to see each other again. Like Buffy just came from a deserted island.
Yeah.
It's been like a day since they saw each other.
It's so overly dramatic. Like people aren't dying yet.
Yeah. So they finish hugging and Riley does like the shoulder tap to Buffy too. And then he starts walking away and then he's like, wait a minute, this is the perfect time. None of us can stutter if we can't talk.
I don't know how to talk to her without being like, I'm an initiative. So
yeah. So guess what? I'm a fucking plant one on you right now while you can't say no.
It was like,
He's like, shh, 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 shh.
oh, down this just made it a lot worse. Like the rapists in Sunnydale are just going crazy. This town.
And we know that there's a lot of fucking creeps in Sunnydale.
Now I just realized this is really dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we see the sweet side of it where Buffy and Riley smooch for quite some time. And then Riley gives her the pat on the shoulder. Hey, put her there, Tiger. And he walks away.
So I did not know how to feel about the timing of this kiss.
Yeah.
Because we've seen them kiss in a dream to start. And you're like, okay, whatever.
Even that was a little weird, and because it was like Maggie Walsh was like, we're going to watch my two students fuck.
Maggie Walsh is unbuttoning her shirt while she's watching. And Willow's like looking over top of her book.
Yeah.
But then they kiss here, and it's supposed to be like, is it supposed to be like a wow, they did it moment? I think it's supposed to be heightened because everyone is so traumatized about the event of losing your voice. But I don't feel like the losing your voice trauma is like that big. Yet,
yeah.
Like it hasn't been like this is week 3 and no one can speak and like everything is falling apart. It's like hour 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that things would ramp up this quickly, you know?
So it's not like a Walking Dead situation where I'm like, oh my God, they found each other. They had to fight through all the chaos and now they kiss. I think that's what they wanted. Yeah,
I feel like they missed the mark.
Yeah.
Like for their big first kiss, like I feel like this kind of misses the mark.
Yeah.
But whatever, they got it over with. But now we get a scene of the gentlemen floating around town with their minions and the boys.
So cool, man.
It's so good, man. Like these guys are fucking scary looking. And if I saw them floating around, dude, something's so weird about just them floating.
Yeah. Because they look calm too. I love the name gentlemen because they just are in these suits. They look calm. They're like they're like a more distinguished version of that like hospital demon with the hat.
Yeah.
With the crooked face and like the like sly hat who looks like a villain. Like these look like villains, but oh man, yeah.
I love everything about the gentleman, dude.
Yeah.
Well, it's also something that kind of like, I don't want to say it's uncanny valley, but to see
a little bit,
to see them moving and not like, doing the motions of moving, like their hands aren't moving, like they're walking, their legs aren't moving. It's just freaky.
And they're very wide-eyed.
Yeah. Like things don't add up. And like when you look at it, it like breaks your brain a little bit. And I loved it. It's so good. So,
we also have to say that they need to get 7.
Yes, they need to get 7.
We don't know why, and we never find out why.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah. We know that they need to get 7 of something at this point in the episode.
But we don't know what happens if they get the 7, which is I think just one of those things you kind of want to know.
Yeah, like I feel like this could have been a 2-parter with them actually collecting. They have to collect 7 hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like special hearts that they need to collect or like they need hearts of X, Y, and Z.
Well, it seems like it because in this scene, you can go through Olivia, but later they keep skipping over rooms.
Yeah.
They look like they're going for specific people, which I didn't understand necessarily.
Yeah, it's like they're floating. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Olivia first. So Olivia's sleeping at Giles's house, and she wakes up and she goes downstairs, and she's a little freaked out, you know? But she looks out the window and she sees like across the way, one of the floating gentlemen is at a neighbor's door. And she's like, holy shit, this is creepy as fuck. And then she's looking out it and like trying to focus and see better, like what the guy looks like. And then a dude just floats by Giles's window, and it's perfect. It's like one of those, do you remember those old YouTube videos where it's like trying to get you to focus on like a dot and then like a scary thing shows up?
This is a
great jump scare.
Yeah. And it's a jump scare without the huge sound effect to it.
Like the giant violin strike or whatever.
Yeah. Where you're like, am I jumping because I saw something, or am I jumping because he just played the loudest sound I've ever heard in my life?
But the gentleman just floats by with his wide-eyed, creepy grin. And dude, I jumped because it was fucking scary.
I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't go into Giles' house. They don't go after her.
Yeah, they don't.
But he looks at her. He just looks her straight in the face like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Can you shoot them with guns?
Dude.
That is, I think that will always be my question with every demon.
Can you break their necks?
Yes,
I mean, that seems to be the
Buffy breaks a neck in this.
Yeah, Buffy breaks all the necks, dude. Like, it's whatever.
But yeah, like, could I shoot one of the gentlemen?
Yeah.
I think I could.
I think you could too. I mean, if they're like an upgraded version of that hospital demon, I mean, he got his neck snapped.
Yeah.
But whatever. I guess they can get physically hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean, this
seems like they shouldn't be. It seems like there's only one way to defeat them, according to the story. But yeah.
I will say that this is the best horror that I think Buffy has had. So, like, this scene of Olivia is the best scene of horror in Buffy the Vampire Slayer that I've seen so far.
I will say the next scene is the best scene of horror in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
This is a good teaser for it, but yeah.
Yeah. So the next scene is the gentleman floating around the dorms, and they're looking around, and like Vance said earlier, like they're looking at certain doors and they're kind of like, not this one. And they're floating by and they're like, not that one. And then they finally find one door.
And it's room 118.
Yeah. Because if there's any significance to that.
Yeah. Because later, like, Buffy and Willow live in room 214, which we see on the sheet. Mm-hmm. So I was like, are these numbers meaning anything? I don't know what they mean. But I just noticed that they skipped over doors. They picked a specific room. Yeah.
So they go to this door, they knock on the door, and it's some random dude. And they're knocking on the door, and he wakes up, and he's like, it's pretty late at night. Mm-hmm. He's like, what's this? And so he opens the door, and the gentleman just like bust in. One of the gentlemen grabs the guy.
The straitjacket dudes.
The straitjacket dudes hold them down. And this dude is like freaking out. He's trying to scream, but obviously he can't. And the horror of that is so terrifying. And then
that's when the horror kicks in. The horror kicks in is when you can't scream for help.
And you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was
he's
like,
being held down.
And I was like, oh my God, now this is scary. Like, people walking around the street, like, not being able to talk to each other. That's eerie.
Yeah.
But this is terrifying.
So the gentlemen come into the room as well. And one thing that we forgot to mention too is like, you're usually carrying like briefcases too, or like one of them is. And they open up their briefcase, and the one gentleman gives the other gentleman like a scalpel. And this scene of just the one gentleman with the scalpel with his huge smile and his huge eyes just going down to cut this guy. First of all, I want to say, when he's being held down, I was like, are they going to cut his dick off? Like, it seemed like they de-pantsed him, didn't it?
I didn't think that. I feel like you always go straight to dick stuff.
Dude, it seemed like they were pulling his pants down.
I did not get that vibe at all. They opened his shirt and his chest was fully exposed.
All right, man. I guess I'm always thinking about my dick. You know, I wouldn't want to have my dick out.
You're like, take my heart.
Take my heart, but not the piece.
It's barely there anyway, so the heart's barely there, so whatever.
But yeah, then they start to like the guy is like going down with the scalpel, and then the dude's trying to scream, and it is horrifying.
The pain of having a unanesthetized surgery and not being able, like, and he's probably screaming his lungs out, but he can't be heard, and that is so terrifying, man. And these guys are doing it with a delightful grin on their face.
Yeah.
And why this guy? Why this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. What is the significance? Like, there has to be some kind of lore behind these guys that, you know, if you dig deeper into the gentleman.
But it doesn't make sense later when they're chasing someone else that they randomly stumble upon.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so they take his heart, and he, you know, one of the gentlemen plops it onto a table back at their clock tower thing, and they plop it down. And there's like 4 or 5 other gentlemen, and like the minions, they all start applauding like the head gentleman.
Yes.
And he's looking like, thank you.
It is amazing. It is pretty incredible.
Yeah. So then it's the next day, I guess, and there's a crime scene, obviously, because a dude got his heart chopped out of his fucking chest. And Buffy just casually strolls into this crime scene. Like, there's a cop like trying to hold people back, and Buffy just like backdoors him.
Dude, it's a doorway. Like, it's a dorm doorway. You can cover both. You can cover the entrance.
Yeah. So Buffy looks, and she's like, "Holy shit, this is fucked up, dude."
Yeah.
Then we go back to Olivia at Giles' house, and she starts drawing. She's a great artist. She starts drawing the.
I know. This episode and Angel have drawings in it. Yeah.
Yeah. But she draws the gentleman perfectly, and she shows it to Giles, and he's like, "Huh?
Are you a watcher?
Yeah.
Do you have watcher bloody?
If you're not, they should definitely hire you.
Yeah.
You're pretty good at this." But then they open the newspaper showing like the killings and like all the crazy shit about it. And then Giles looks at the gentleman thing, and he reads the newspaper, and he's like, "Huh, I'm going to go grab my fairy tale book."
Yes. And the other fairy tale that we had was the Hansel and Gretel one. I forget what that episode was called. It was one that I enjoyed.
I think it's called Gingerbread.
Yes. So it's interesting when they're like, you know what? We're doing a fairy tale episode.
Yeah. I mean, their fairy tale episodes, they got a good run with their fairy tale episodes.
I know. They get dark, and like, I think like the Gingerbread had like, oh my God, the people are the villains now.
Yeah.
This one has like the demons are the real villains.
Yeah. Like, both of those are great episodes.
I think that was some of the tensive stuff in Gingerbread was when like the parents were turning on the kids.
Yeah, and like Buffy's at odds with her mom.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Your mom is like being manipulated by, dude, that was a good episode.
Yeah, that mob mentality stuff. That's, I will say, it seems like the town's going crazy, right? But all the newspaper people are able to get out a newspaper.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one can talk, but they were able to like coordinate, get the newspaper printed, get the stories. Like, oh, how did you know that someone's heart got cut out? Someone just wrote that down and told you, and then you reported on it. Like, things are still functioning in the town.
Yeah.
Like, it's no way you should get a newspaper out.
That's capitalism, baby. People still got to work. Still got to go to your fucking job. But yeah, so the gang, somehow after Giles like reads his fairy tale book and gets some more information, the gang all meets up at Buffy's psychology classroom. And Giles does a little like slideshow presentation on like that old school transparent presentation thing.
That throws you back a little bit. That old school, I don't know, like you had to be
like a projector.
It's that projector where you put the little slides on it and they have to be face down, reverse, and it shoots up on that little like ET looking arm that projects it. And I love this scene so much.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
It's great. It's a great use of like, hey, we can't talk. I have to get information across.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just a lot of fun and stupid stuff in this scene.
Yeah, a lot of silly misunderstandings and stuff. And, Giles...
Yeah.
One thing that I do love about this presentation is like Giles is not a great artist and he's not trying to like do anything fancy. It's
Giles
just like
is a great artist though.
No, but he's like, I got to get this across quick.
Yeah.
Here's some stick figures.
Yeah.
So he, puts the transparent on first and it's backwards and Willow's like, it's backwards.
Anya does the thing where she like rotates her fingers like she's bored. Like,
yeah. Anya's got some popcorn.
Anya is great in this scene. Like,
yeah,
she's
loving it, man.
She's hearing this horrible stuff and just eating popcorn. When you go to her and ask,
she's got to know about the gentleman.
Anytime something weird happens, I would be like, Anya, has this happened in your thousands of years of living? And she's like, well, once, yeah. Like she should know everything. At least like ask her first. He did ask Spike if he knew about anything, and he said no. But
yeah. So, they're going through and Giles is like, the people that are doing this are called the gentlemen. They come from fairy tale books. And what they do is they steal people's voices. And I think it's Willow is like, somebody motions that.
Well, he's like, and do you know what they want? And Willow's got her hand up because she's a brown noser, like teacher's pet kind of thing, and she's pointing to her chest. And then Xander goes, boobies? And gestures boobies.
Yeah. And then Giles is like, fucking Xander, idiot.
And then he flips. And then he flips over like the slide and it's like a heart.
Yeah, it's like they want hearts.
And then they cut to Anya and she's just eating popcorn, like not even worried.
Yeah. But yeah, Giles is like, they steal the voices and then they take your heart.
And then this is when Buffy goes, I think Xander asks, how do we kill them? And then Buffy gestures that she's going to stake them. And somehow Giles and Xander they look at this as her giving a hand job.
Well, she does do like kind of like the jerk off motion because she does the stabbing like in her lap.
Yeah.
And Giles and Xander look like, what? And Buffy's like, fucking, you know what I'm doing.
I know. It's like, it's funny because Giles looked at Xander when he did the boobies thing, like, you childish idiot. But then when Buffy does that, Giles and Xander are like, Buffy, please. It's the classroom.
Remember the last time you gave somebody a happy?
And then she takes out the steak and does the same thing. And they're like, oh.
Yeah. And then Giles is like, oh, I've got an answer for that. He flaps the thing on and says, no sword can kill them. Right. But the one time that in the fairy tale that the gentlemen do appear, a prince got his voice somehow and screamed, and the scream killed all of them. And then Willow is like, how about this? I've got a CD. What if we just play music? Will that do it? And Giles is like, no, it's only a real human voice can kill these dudes.
And then Buffy asks, how do we get our voices back? And then Giles is like, this is the best part. I have no idea.
Yeah. But guess what? You're going on patrol.
But guess who got patrol duty? I do like, because I have a big book of Grimm's original fairy tales, which is, those things are dark.
Yeah,
Man,
dude.
Rumpelstiltskin is dark as fuck when you read it. And there's a bunch of like little weird short ones and you're like, man, all right. But most fairy tales explain, like, it's weird that this fairy tale that he read explained how to kill him, but not how the person got their voice back.
Yeah.
And that it had to be, in fairy tale times, there weren't recordings. So why would it say, oh, it has to be a natural voice? Because that's the only way you could hear a voice back then.
Yeah, I mean, you should test the recording thing at least.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But no, I think it's it's cool. It leads to a really great ending.
Yeah, absolutely. So Buffy's going on patrol. The rest of the gang is going to help Giles do research. So Riley gets his initiative team ready to do patrol.
They are suiting up now. Now that there's been murders, they're like, all right, you can be a fake military walking around the city. And cops, what do cops do when they see these guys?
No idea. I guess they're just like, oh, I guess Halloween. Is it Halloween? Is it April Fool's Day?
They're like, oh, I guess I can go home. Yeah.
But Riley's on patrol. Buffy's out on patrol. Riley is like wandering around and he sees the clock tower where the gentlemen are. Mm-hmm. And he sees a bunch of shadows moving. And he's like, that's fucking weird. I'm going to go in there.
By myself and not with my team.
Yeah. Who knows? So we then cut to Tara. She somehow gets Willow's dorm number or it's her dorm number, right?
Yeah. She's got like, I'm sure they exchange information and it's like,
yeah,
but it's a close up on the number of, and it's like the number of the door in Willow's name. Mm-hmm. So we know that she's going to Willow's room.
Yes.
And it's just like the second time we got a room number in this episode.
So she's, walking around and she's like, all right, I'm going to go see this girl Willow because I think that she might know what's going on or might know how to help because she seemed to be the only actual witch in the Wicca group.
Yeah, we're badass witches. We can solve every problem. We don't need slayers.
Yeah. But she does the typical fucking horror movie fall for no reason. Like, it's not like anybody's even chasing her at this point. Dude, she just trips and falls.
Did she fall or drop? It's just random. Like, it's just a setup.
Yeah.
Thing, but yeah.
So she trips and falls, and as she's picking up all her shit, like in the background, you see the gentlemen float by. And they float by, like, they're floating pretty fast. Like what we saw before, like they're floating at like a slow walking pace. Mm-hmm. But this is like they have segways now, and they're just floating pretty fast. Yeah. And they spot Tara, and she's like, oh shit, what the fuck are this? And she starts running, dude.
Yeah, and they're coming for her.
So then we cut to Buffy, and Buffy sees the gentleman, and she gets caught by one of their like henchmen, and she starts fighting the people, but they catch her eventually. The Wicca girl Tara is running around, and she's banging on all the doors, and nobody answers them, and I don't know why.
I know exactly why, because someone was murdered in their room.
Like, fair enough. Fair enough.
There's a heart stealer. You're like, oh, hello?
Yeah. But she's like banging on the doors, and there's this like fake out cut with Willow where Willow is in her room and she's asleep at the computer, and then she wakes up because it makes it seem like she hears the banging on the doors. Mm-hmm. But it's actually not her. But then we go back to Buffy.
The fake out was interesting, but didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Hold on. So we go back to Buffy, and Buffy's beating up the minion dudes. Riley goes into the clock tower, gets attacked by the minion dudes. Tara is banging on the door. That we had the Willow fake out because the one door that Tara is banging on that actually does open. It's one of the gentlemen inside, and he's got his scalpel, and it's all bloody. And he's like, "Hey, what the fuck is over there?" So then that dorm room was apparently like a couple doors down from Willow's dorm. No. So Willow hears a bunch of commotion out in the hallway, and she walks out, and Tara just fucking blindsides Willow and just tackles her.
I don't know why Willow wouldn't stay at Giles' house. I would not stay in the dorm room where someone was murdered.
Dude, I wouldn't stay in this city. I'd move.
Well, I think it's probably, I would love to see the border of like people trying to leave town and them trying to stop them. Because it's quarantined.
Yeah. So then Willow sees the gentleman, and then she just starts taking off with Tara. So then we go back to the clock tower, and Riley's getting his ass beat by the minion dudes. Buffy shows up, and she starts beating up these minion dudes. And Riley's kind of beating up the minion dudes. And then they have like a face-to-face, like holding weapons at each other. Yeah. Because Buffy's got her crossbow and Riley has his like taser gun.
God, that gun is so lame.
Yeah.
I hate that. I don't know. It's something, it just reminded me of that other Watcher who had that glove, that power glove, lightning powers.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we've seen them use guns in this show. Darla had double pistols.
Yeah.
So you could use guns. They're using these weird this military got these weird taser guns that run out of power.
It's because I think the initiative, like, don't they want to do experiments on the demons and shit?
But don't they know some demon? Like, they do, but is it all capture?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if your life is on the line, you'd want to, like some more firepower, you know?
I feel like they have handguns on them. I feel like it's no way his one gun goes down and he doesn't have another piece.
Yeah. But
a combat knife, maybe?
So Riley and Buffy, they do a little face-to-face and they do a little like, What are you doing here? What do you have crossbow? Oh, what are you doing here? Why do you have a gun pointed in my face?
She's like, you can see this? You didn't see the stake I pulled out in front of you the other episode.
But then they're kind of like, well, we're both here. Let's start beating some minion ass. Mm-hmm. So they start to beat up the little straitjacket guys.
Yeah.
So Giles and Spike and Anya and Xander are all hanging out in there, we're doing research. And Spike goes to the refrigerator and he gets his cup of blood with his mug and he drinks the blood.
He drinks it cold too, which I was surprised by. I thought he would nuke it.
You would think that they would want it warm.
I thought he would nuke it. Whatever. Put it on the stove, boil yourself up a hot pot of blood.
But he's regular face and then he drinks the blood and he turns into a vampire face.
Good effect, very quick.
Yep. So he goes over to the couch where Anya is sleeping and he's like goes onto the floor. I don't know what happens, why he's on the floor.
I think he's researching something or looking at some books. I don't know. He just kind of bent over. Yeah.
So
he's got a blood mustache, like a milk mustache.
Yeah. So Xander then appears and he sees Anya like passed out on the couch. And then he sees Spike lift his head up and he's full vampire face. And Xander misinterprets this as like, he's fucking feeding on my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go beat this guy's ass.
Yeah.
And Xander does that.
He does.
Like, he beats the shit out of Spike for like a good couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he's decking him, and Spike's just taking it because he can't harm people, I guess.
Yeah, he's just getting wailed on. Yeah. I love it. I will say that Xander he would always come to the aid of his friends.
Yes.
But he would also do that for, like, someone he likes, like Anya.
Yeah.
So, like, he would have done it if it was Willow, if it was Buffy.
Yeah.
He might have thought twice if it was Giles. He might have hesitated, but then jumped in.
Yeah. But like, he just jumps into the line of fire a lot of times. And so he's just beaten. Well, I mean, I guess this isn't really the line of fire. Well, if he thinks that Spike is feeding on Anya, I guess it is.
He's attacking a vampire that he thinks is full vampire attack mode. Like,
that's balls.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he stood up to Angel when Angel was Angelus.
That's true.
Like, I mean.
Yeah, and that scene in the hospital was fucking badass, wasn't it? He just gets up in his face and he's like, "You're gonna die, and I'm gonna be there when you do." I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
But so as Xander's beating the shit out of Spike, Anya wakes up and she's like, "What's going on?" "Oh, Xander, what are you doing?" And Xander kind of looks at Anya and he's like, "Oh, you weren't getting fed? I thought that Spike was eating you." And
I think
Anya's
Giles
like, "No."
Comes out too, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, no, that's not what happened. This is a misinterpretation. And Xander's like, oh, shit. But Anya takes this as like, earlier in the episode when they were like, you don't care about me. She takes this as like, Xander will get into the line of fire for me and defend me if he, and like, also when Xander realizes that Anya's okay, he like grabs her and hugs her. He starts kissing her. Yeah. And Anya's like, okay, you've just proven that you really care about me. And then she does the let's fuck finger motion. And everybody just like sees it and rolls their eyes like, God damn.
He like nods and they hold hands and run out. And it's just like, this is like for Giles, like the worst thing. I think Olivia's there too. Yeah.
Yeah, Olivia's there and she sees it all. And I like that scene.
I just love it.
Poor Spike though.
I just love that Anya did the finger and the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that she talks about Giles as like, is this a fornicating friend? And
this
like,
is an orgasm friend. It's an orgasm friend.
So good.
Great addition to the show. Just like Anya brings a nice like knowledge of demons, a fun like disconnect to humanity.
Yeah. So after that scene, Willow and Tara are still on the run. They're running and then they eventually hide in some room, and
I think they're in the laundry room. It looks like the exact laundry room where if she only knew that Oz and Veruca.
I was like, fuck, what is that? I was going to say Sunday, but
I was like, Oz and Veruca when they were, and this was where Oz was like, no, I will not have sex with you on this dirty laundry mat floor.
Yeah. And it looked like Veruca was like grabbing at his junk.
We sure didn't see
anything happens off screen that vaguely could be junk grabbing or junk mutilation. That's what it is in my head.
So when Xander was just punching Spike in the balls.
Dude, people talk a lot about headcanon. For me, anything that happens slightly off screen.
You're like, I don't know why Buffy keeps shooting stakes into people's crotch. That's not where the heart is.
But so they lock themselves into this laundry room, and they're worried about the gentleman and the minions breaking in. So they try to like move this gigantic soda machine to the front of the door, and they can't do it.
Okay, there's a couple of things in this scene. I didn't know that you could do witchcraft without reciting anything.
Yeah.
I guess she can move pencils without saying anything. So I guess it's been established. And she does mention that she wants to learn how to move stuff bigger than pencils. Earlier, Willow's complaining about not being that good of a witch. And even later in this episode, you have given Angel back his soul. Mm-hmm. You've helped save Buffy from having her soul sucked out of her.
You gave yourself the power to anything that you speak becomes real.
Like, you have done so much. Why are you...
You don't realize it, but you did turn Amy the rat back into a human for a half a second.
I mean, you were about to do a spell to make it so that Oz would never find true love. And things were floating. like all those beakers were floating. And you're like, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You did a spell with Anya that brought Vamp Willow into this reality. You have crossed over multiverses.
Yeah.
You're pretty good.
Yeah. But so they're both physically trying to move the soda machine.
No, they're not trying to physically move it at all.
No, they do. They try to push it at first, and then they sit down.
Oh, okay.
And then Willow's like, I'm going to fucking move this with my mind.
I missed them trying to physically move it, because that was one of my things. I was like, the two of them could probably push that over there. Yeah. Okay, they did at least show that they couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they're sitting down, and Willow's like focusing really hard. She's trying to move the soda machine with her mind, and it starts shaking. Mm-hmm. But she can't move it. And then Tara sees this, and she's like, "Oh shit! This girl really does know how to do witchcraft, like I know how to do." Bum bum bum! Big surprise. They hold hands, and then they combine their mind power. And they fucking just rocket this fucking soda machine to the door.
Interlock fingers on their hand. Like, it is very, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that Willow found her vampire group, or like her witch group, in high school with Amy and that goth dude that got beat up.
Yeah. Michael, I think his name was.
Yeah. Like, so in high school, she was able to find 3 witches. I think in college you're able to find, you gotta at least find 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
This campus is huge.
We got a werewolf, a witch, and a slayer all hanging out. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's some witches floating around.
Speaking of floating around, Buffy. So now we go back to Buffy and Riley, and they're getting their asses beat. The straitjacket minion guys are just like, they're taking it to them at this point. They're ganging up on them. Buffy gets thrown through like some part of the watchtower, and she discovers where the hearts are being kept. Well,
before
the jars.
Before that, she grabs a rope and does a swing kick.
Yeah,
across the room.
That guy got fucking launched, dude.
He flew back like he got hit with a cannon. And Riley is fighting and looks at this, and he goes, "What the fuck is this girl's deal?" It was amazing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was a great moment for Riley to be like, okay, she's not just like, oh, I can fight and I'm out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not like most girls.
Nah, she's not like most girls. She's special. I don't know why. Maybe because she's hot and blonde.
Yeah, I get it. You've been bringing it up every fucking time I talk to you. I'm just trying to get some pussy, Riley.
I was just putting on this act.
Yeah.
Like, watch Forrest come out to be gay.
Oh, that's what's going to happen. Yeah. So Buffy discovers where the hearts are, and the floating gentlemen show back up, and they're like, oh, we're here now, and like shit's going to arrive. Who are these two people? Riley gets his gun and he zaps them. And then they start fighting the straitjacket minions again. And then at one point, Buffy gets stabbed in the back, it looks like, by one of the gentlemen.
Yes. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there's a lot of honking of cars like on that corner outside. I don't know if you can hear it on the podcast, but I noticed this. The one of the gentlemen has the scalpel and he stabs Buffy, and we don't see exactly where it is. She just goes, ah. And I was like, wait, this leather jacket is not as strong as her Red Riding Hood cape that was stabbed in that Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Like, that guy had a real knife.
Yeah. I mean, she got fucking stabbed.
Yeah.
So then Buffy's being choked out at this point, and she's like up in the rafters, and she sees where the hearts are, and there's a box in the middle of the hearts. And Buffy sees it, and she's like, oh shit, I remember that from my vision dream that I had way earlier in the episode that Joe and Vance forgot to mention.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
Forgot to mention that.
Well,
Sorry,
we did bring up that there was like a girl singing a drum thing. But yeah, she had a box. She gets these premonition visions, which is real convenient for the Slayer.
So she sees Riley, and Riley's kind of near where this box is, and Buffy's like banging on the thing, and Riley looks up, and she's like, the box. And Riley's like, okay. And he smashes like the wrong thing. I forget what he smashed. He smashes some like beaker that's next to it. Yeah. And Buffy looks and she's like, you idiot.
It's a great moment because the look of satisfaction that he has on his face when he does it. It's like,
it's kind of like Buffy in that Halloween episode when she breaks the ritual symbol or whatever.
Yeah, when she punches the floor and she gets up, she's like, how do you like me now? And Jaws like, don't do that.
Yeah. Riley kind of has the same vibe going in this, where he's like, I did it, right? Yeah. And Buffy's like, you dummy, no, the box. And then so Riley's like, oh, okay. And he breaks the box.
I don't know where the gentlemen are during any of this.
Yeah.
It's like
you'd
they were like
somebody would
be
protecting that.
Well, I mean, I guess there's one in there, but I don't think they ever push that one away. It's like the henchmen, right? Like I think it's always the henchmen are fighting, and then the one guy stabs Buffy, but then that's it. Like, they never really physically interact with him, I don't think, that much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Riley breaks the actual box, and it gives everybody their voices back. And as soon as Buffy gets her voice like sucked back into her face, she just goes, ah! Screams for so long. Mm-hmm. And all of the gentlemen's heads just blow up and explode. And it was so cool looking.
Yes. Like,
it was.
It's just a great payoff to a silent episode for her to get a voice, give this amazing yell.
Yeah.
And for that to just destroy them all.
I loved everything about the gentleman, dude.
Yes. Yeah, there's not a lot of, like, my only like minor gripe is how like it was the end of the world so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's a show. You got to quickly get to some stuff. The kiss, I don't think really gets, like, the kiss happening like after the scream would have been better, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, it's just it was a weird timing for the kiss. It didn't seem like it built up to like the first kiss moment. But
these are great villains though. Like for a one-off villain, these guys were fucking top tier A+ elite status one-off villain.
We're gonna need like a Mayor or an Angelus or Spike to turn bad again for like the end for the season 4 recap.
Yeah, man.
For someone to top this, man.
These guys are gonna be tough to beat.
Yep. The bar has been set.
Yeah. So after the gentlemen's heads explode, great effect too. Like, it looked great. Everything
gory,
was great
like
about
this goop came out of them.
Yeah, it was like green.
Yeah.
Loved it. Everything about it. So good. So Willow, it's the next day, Willow and Tara are like, they bond over about how, I always knew that witchcraft was real, and like those other girls in the Wicca group, they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. And Willow's like, yeah. And Tara's like, dude, I knew that you had it in you. I knew that you were a real witch from the moment you were talking about it in Wicca group. I knew you were special. And Willow's like, I'm nothing special. There's nothing special about me. And Tara's like, no, there is. And then they have this like look at each other, and it's like, this is the start of something.
Mm-hmm. So Tara's a character that I knew was in the show.
Okay. See, I never knew about Tara, but I knew of something that goes on with Willow. I guess.
But I won't say, like, I think I know the thing I know about Tara is also a little different than what just happened. So I won't say what it is since you don't know. But yeah.
Well, Tara, sticking with this episode, and we'll get to conjecture later on. But Tara's, yeah, I know some big words. Tara's mom apparently was like a super powerful witch, and she's like, I recognize that in my mom, and I recognize that in you. That's how I know that like you're a special one. And Willow's like, okay, well, whatever you say.
First thing Willow should do is like, I have a rat I need you to check out.
Yeah. Can your mom help with the rat fucking
That would have been so funny.
transmutation?
That would have been such a funny line at the end of that scene. Do you want to see my rat? And then Tara's like, what?
So then we go to Olivia and Giles, and Olivia's just kind of like laying on Giles's lap, and Olivia's like, holy shit, dude, like, you told me about all this stuff being real, and I never believed you. But holy shit, this shit is real. And Giles is like, yeah, I mean, I wasn't lying about all that stuff. I wasn't an original member of, I forget what band
Pink
it is.
Floyd, yeah.
Pink Floyd. He's like, I lied about that, but all this like dark arts and monsters and demons and vampire stuff, I was not lying about that. And Olivia's like, I didn't believe you, but I guess now I gotta.
Yeah.
Is Olivia going to be a part of this show?
Well, it ends on I forget exact wording of the line, but he's like, is it too scary for you? And she's like, I don't know. Yeah. And it's like one of those things where she's like debating, like, I really like Giles, but this is some fucked up shit.
Does she like Giles, or does she like fucking Giles?
Yeah, but also, do you like fucking Giles enough to like die
risk
in
your
this?
life? Yeah.
She's like, you can drive me to the airport right now. He's like, they're demon over there too, but then they seem to like be more attracted to you, Giles.
Yeah. So that's that scene. And our final scene is Riley going to Buffy's dorm, and he shows up, and Buffy's like, hey. And Riley's like, hey. So I guess we need to have a talk. And Buffy's like, I guess so. And that is where the episode ends.
I hated the last scene.
Yeah,
it's so melodramatic.
Yeah, I mean, everything with like where they try to give Riley a cool line, he just botches it, I feel.
Well, Buffy looked really strange, like standing, like she looks extra short. Like standing by her bed in those like sneakers, like those. And then he sits on Willow's bed because Willow's, flirting downstairs with witch girls with their soul witch. Just like, I know next episode they'll probably like, I hope it doesn't start with like a really, oh my God, I'm a slayer. I work for the initiative. Like they can exchange this information like a more fun way. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to. They just fought. You mean to tell me you guys fought together, killed these demons, and then you waited till the next day? Like, you went your separate ways after that.
Right?
Like, you would be like, hey, I think we should probably talk. After that. Like, you get a coffee. You go get some food.
Now, what I'm wondering is, so obviously they're going to tell each other, like, secrets.
Yeah. You're wondering if Riley's going to tell his thing?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm wondering... Well, number one, I'm wondering if they do share everything with each other. They're like, Riley's like, hey, I'm part of this initiative. Buffy's like, hey, I'm a vampire slayer. I wonder if Riley will keep it a secret from the initiative, or if he's going to tell.
Oh,
like,
no.
But like, why? You know?
Because he knows that then the new villain will be her teacher, and the teacher will look at Buffy differently.
Yeah, I guess.
Because these shows all like hinge on secrets.
I just don't know why. Like, they could be such assets to each other, you know? Like, the initiative at least has some kind of intel about some kind of, like, their experiments.
But when they find out she's been harboring Spike, they'll be like, we can't trust her.
You're right.
There's just all this stuff it's well set up, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I've been watching some other shows that I'm not enjoying. I won't even go into them fully yet, but you know, these are well crafted seasons, at least. Like,
yeah,
they have a lot. Most of these seasons have too many episodes. Like, if you cut out some of them, you leave a little fluff away. And some of the random ones are really great. But they do tell stories. Like, the arc of all the seasons are still like tracking.
Yeah,
like nothing has fully fallen off the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I really loved this episode. I thought it was great. Again, I can't speak enough about how awesome the gentlemen are, and like how terrifying they were, and how terrifying their powers were. Like, so good.
Yeah.
Have anything else left to say about this episode here, Vance?
No, it's going to be interesting. It's interesting to see Spike around Olivia if she sticks around a little bit. She's man, I don't know if Giles can handle losing another.
I feel like the next time Olivia is mentioned, it's going to be like Giles being like, no, she couldn't handle it. And that, like, I feel like this is the last we're going to see of her.
Yeah.
But Vance, the next episode is titled Doomed.
Man, that's a hard one to guess. It could be anything. Sure, Giles' doomed relationship with Olivia.
I was going to say Riley and Buffy's doomed relationship.
Yeah. I guess we do have. I guess that really is the main thing the next episode has to deal with. Yeah,
I mean, they have to. I want to know like what they divulge to each other. Like, I feel like they'll say a little bit maybe, or like somebody will hold something back.
I would love it. They're in the library and he's like, "Okay, I'm detailing the whole organization. Here's the structure."
He has like a PowerPoint.
and then she's like, "Well, I'm a Slayer, and I guess I was just born this way."
Yeah. He's like, "What? You're so strong."
It'd be interesting if the initiative doesn't even know about Slayers.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because I feel like everything's in books.
You know what? They'd be totally stupid not to, because Spike was talking to another vampire about like, I was chasing the Slayer. Like, do they not have like those rooms bugged? Do they not have recordings of that?
You know what the biggest thing that like military does when they kidnap people is interrogate them?
Yep.
Do they not interrogate, or do they just experiment?
I don't know. I guess they think of vampires as subhuman, so like, why even interrogate them?
Yeah, but that's what the military thinks about people from foreign countries sometimes.
True. Very true.
So like, they still ask them questions.
But yeah, so that is it for this episode, everybody. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate you sticking it out. Holidays be damned. Holiday travel be damned. So join our Patreon where we review Angel. We'll be having that up on Thursday. Well, today as well.
This Angel episode's got a lot of key things in it.
Oh yeah, a lot of crazy shit going on in that Angel episode. And I got a little bit of backstory for a certain thing that happens in Angel as well. Mm-hmm. So we got the Patreon Boys Watching Angel. We have Boys Watching Movies tier where we review one movie a month. Join our Discord. The link is in the show notes. The Patreon is patreon.com/boyswatchingbuffy. Instagram @boyswatchingbuffy. We post updates on there and fun memes and all that shit. boyswatchingbuffy @gmail.com. I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything here, Vance?
If you want to see my top movies of 2022 list, you can find that on the Discord in the movies channel, or you can follow me on Twitter @isthatvance.
Yeah, and also follow me on Instagram @Joe Welke. It's just my name, no spaces or anything. And you can see what I look like.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. So yeah, that is it, everybody. Thanks once again for listening and sticking it out through our little holiday delay. And yes, stay tuned next time for when we talk about Doomed.
This feels very strange.
Don't worry. If I kiss you, it'll make the sun go down.
Thanks again for listening to Comedy by Indie Drop-In Network. If you would like to nominate a comedy podcast to be featured, just send me a tweet at Indie Drop-In. I'd also love to hear if one of our featured podcasts is now your favorite show. Indie Drop-In survives off ad revenue and listener donations. If you would like to contribute, please consider buying me a coffee. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/Indie Drop-In. If you look at the very bottom of the episode description, you will see a link. Indie Drop-In has many other shows that you also might like. Just go to indiedropin.com. All right, we'll see you next week.